Hi, I'm Alan Hall, AJHSynth, here at Zimmer booth 24. And I'll just give you a little bit of a rundown on the story behind the RadioPhonic Synth that we're launching here today. Um, as you can see, this synth was commissioned by Hans Zimmer. Hans has been a user of AJH for about 8 years now, and has used it in quite a few of his movies. And the, the reason for the birth of the synth was because Hans had, along with some friends, has bought the Maida Vale Studios in London from the BBC. And of course, the Maida Vale Studios was the original home of the RadioPhonic Workshop. And Hans's dream is to re-establish the RadioPhonic Workshop in its rightful home of the Maida Vale Studios. And after he'd done that, he gave me a call towards the end of last year, and said that as part of his plan, he would like to have a without compromise analog modular system to be used in the new RadioPhonic Workshop. And so and he specifically wanted AJHSynth to build that for him because of the rapport that we already have, and how much he enjoys the sound of our particular modules. So we started with that, and what we ended up with initially, it was going to be a much larger system, and then we started to think about the use that it's going to be put to eventually. I mean, at the moment it's with Hans in his London studio, but when it takes its place in the RadioPhonic Workshop, then it'll be used by other musicians, and some of whom may not be that familiar with modular. So we tried to keep it of a dimension really that didn't compromise any of its usability or features, but made it more immediate and accessible. So what we ended up with was a synth that has two. It can be configured as two voices, but the idea of the two voices is that each of them can be stereo, because particularly with Hans's compositions, he composes for cinema, and the speakers in cinemas are very far apart, with a huge stereo field in between, which Hans describes as his play area, as this massive stereo field. So any synths that he uses, he wants to take advantage of being able to run them in stereo. So we have so rather than the normal 3 VCO, 1 VCF, 1 VCA, we have 3 VCO, 2 VCF, 2 VCA, and we have that on both voices. But obviously, we can patch any filters, any combination of filters into that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the ladder filter with this. It could be the Gemini filter, or anything else. So that was the basic concept of it, is that it's 2-voice stereo. And then one of the other things that was important was to have great crossfading ability, crossfading and panning, which is why we use the triple cross module. And what that allows us to do is to crossfade between filters, or we can crossfade even between voices, and move things back and forth across the stereo field by using the onboard panner that's in there as well. So the top section really is all of the signal path, the analog signal path, and then row 3 here are all of our modulation sources. So we have we have 2 complex tap tempo LFOs, both with built-in VCAs, and then we have 2 dual LFOs as well with VCAs as well. So we have 6 LFOs for modulation, plus lots of envelope generators, things like a dual RVG module. We have the phaser as our next phase, wave swarm, which again can be configured as stereo. Gemini filter, which is two of the SEM Oberheim SEM filters, which can be switched between serial parallel or can be used as two completely separate stereo channels. And then we have the 914 filter bank, which again can be mono in, stereo out. So with the whole system, it's we eventually settled on this design, and the idea of it with the case was we went through a few different case revisions, and then Hans I showed Hans a VCS3 style case, which was only 84 HP, which is that sort of size. And he got very excited about that because the VCS3 was his very first synthesizer. And so he just said, that's it, that's the case we need, just make it bigger to fit all of the modules, which is what we did. So the case itself grew out to 136 HP, but it has all of the styling cues of the VCS3, but made with American dark walnut and cherry wood. And so that was built. It was intended to be a one-off build, which has already been handed over, and will be taking its place in the radiophonic workshop. But then Hans suggested that he liked the idea of us perhaps doing a limited edition of replicas of it, and that's what this particular synth is here. This is replica number 1. And we'll be doing a very limited edition of replicas of them. We've started taking orders for that. They're handmade and built to order, and there's already surprisingly we already have a waiting list for them. Despite the retail price of £15,000 UK, including VAT, but with that, it's a hand-built instrument, very much built to the specification of Hans Zimmer, and the sounds that can be got from it, pretty amazing, really. So yeah, if I say so myself. So okay.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.